by serving. In your name, Jesus. Amen. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Martha, would you please call roll?
Yes. Appletoft.
Here.
Garrity.
Here.
Gibbs.
Here.
Inman.
Here.
Crane.
Here.
Quinn.
Here.
Rothrock.
Here.
Schlossmarker.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tonight, under special presentations, first of all, I'd like to have a moment of silence for Captain Middleton. He lost his life yesterday in the line of duty. Thank you. The last few weeks have not been real. It's been kind of difficult for all the police forces throughout the nation, nationwide. And I guess yesterday kind of brought it home to all of us. And our thoughts and prayers are with Captain Milton's family in the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department, and then there were several people in our own department that were close to Captain Milton, and so our thoughts and prayers go out to them. But I guess it makes you think of our own department and everything that our police department does in this city. And it's not only the dangerous things they do a lot of. It's being with people and checking on them that don't have air conditioning. I know somebody got in a bike wreck. They got him to the hospital, got their own personal truck, went back, got his bicycle, took it home for him. So it's just so many things like that every single day. And I guess what I'm saying is, Ben, we really appreciate all of you. And I know everybody here wants to express that. And if you would express it to all the guys, how much we appreciate it. And I'm just going to stand and give you applause, and hopefully you can tell everybody. Well, tonight, our second presentation, we have Paul Howe from Waste Management, Deffenbaugh, and he's going to be with us to update us on the service in mission. And Mr. Howe will introduce. Did you bring somebody with you tonight?
Well, I was hoping to bring two. I did bring one at this point.
Okay,
The other
well,
person is
you
still
can
working on
introduce.
getting trash picked up. So.
Oh, okay. We're all for that.
I thought you might be. The gentleman that's here at this point is Scott Mullins. Scott Mullins is one of the residential route managers, relatively new in this position, been with the company for a long time, but new in this position. So he is the route manager that's directly responsible for this area.
Okay.
So I wanted to make sure he was here. And I'm sure Dale will be coming. Dale Smith has been with Waste Management for about 25 years. Well, we just moved him here from Ottawa, Illinois, and he's running the entire residential department. So I'm sure he'll be coming, but again, he's trying to get some trash picked up. So
Okay.
I'm sorry he's late. So,
Quite all right.
Thank you.
Did you want to make a presentation before questions?
Please, yeah, I'd like to. And I don't want to take a lot of time. Again, my name is Paul Howe. I'm the Senior District Manager for Deffenbaugh Waste Management here in Kansas City. I've been with Deffenbaugh since 2008. I joined the Deffenbaugh team right after the first acquisition from Ron Deffenbaugh. So I worked through and with the private equity group, and then I stayed on with Waste Management as they acquired the company. I've been in the industry for about 35 years, and most of that time has been pretty good. There's been some rough times, and I'm here to talk about some rough times at this point. I would like to make a presentation. I want you to know that nothing that I have to say tonight is meant to be an excuse by any means, because there is no excuse. I do want to tell you what some of the challenges have been, but most importantly, what we're doing proactively to get over this. and to fix it, because at the end of the day, it's really a pretty simple business. The resident, the commercial customer, they set their trash out, and their expectation is that we pick it up when we say we're going to pick it up, and we return the carton or the container back to where it should be. So I'll be happy to take any questions at the end. If I don't have the answer, I'm not going to try to make something up, but I will make notes, and I'll make sure that we get that information back, probably through Laura Smith. Several weeks ago, Laura and I were talking on the phone, and she was sharing some information about some of the challenges that we had faced, and I asked if it would be appropriate if I could come and speak with you tonight. And again, thanks for allowing me to do that. I'd like to start by saying and offering our sincere apologies, not only to you, the council members, but to any residents in the room today or those who aren't here, for our failures. We've had a long relationship, probably longer, and I know much longer than even the time that I've been with Deffenbaugh. And I believe that it's been a good relationship. And while our current behaviors and some of our practices have demonstrated it, we sincerely value that relationship. And we are dedicated, and I'm dedicated to making sure that we change what's going on now, and that we get back to the reliable, consistent service that you and your constituents have been accustomed to. That's the right thing to do. We're in an interesting time in the transportation business, and when I talk about the transportation business, it's not just the trucks that deliver cartage or materials from one place to the next. The trash company or the trash industry is a transportation business. And we're really going through a transition. Across the nation today, the National Truckers Association estimates that there's between 25 and 30,000 open seats waiting for drivers to sit in those seats and drive those trucks. And that's literally 25 to 30,000 open jobs today. What we're finding and what the National Trucking Association has identified is that the retiring people are just not being refilled by people who have a desire to drive trucks. And certainly that's even more probably true in a trash truck. When you think of if you're going to go drive a truck, probably not the first choice is a trash truck. Although after 35 years, I am a little jaded, and I think it's a great industry. And that's what we're trying to sell people on at this point. The bad news is that the National Trucker Association estimates that that number will grow to 200,000 people short by the year 2023. So our challenge is really magnified because of the type of business that we do, and that the fact is, in many situations, it's still labor intensive. So we're having to take some creative ways to fill those jobs. And some of the ways that we're doing that is through automation, training our own people, putting a new process in where we're training the next generation of drivers, if you will. So again, I'll get into a little bit of that. I want to set aside, if I can, though, some, I think, misconceptions that I've heard throughout some of the different communities, especially not necessarily from you folks or from anybody we've talked to, but there seems to be a misconception throughout the Kansas City area. And that is when Waste Management came in and purchased Deffenbaugh, which was in March of last year. Many times when a larger company purchases a smaller company, the first thing they do is to look for synergies. How are they going to pay for what they just purchased, right? And that's a natural assumption. So therefore, I think the assumption is that Waste Management immediately came in and began to do cuts to experience savings. I will tell you that there's some positions that we found could be synergized, mainly administrative positions, but I can tell you honestly, in the operations arena and department, that is the furthest from the truth. We have not eliminated any positions in the operations department. In fact, since Waste Management has taken over, we've actually added to the total number of routes that we have. So it wasn't an effort to come in, cut, and try to save from the operations side. Waste Management is very, very keen and aware of the fact that all we do is pick up trash. And we've got to have the adequate resources to do that. Now that doesn't mean that we can't work smarter and more efficiently. Certainly we strive to do that every single day, but we don't do it at the sacrifice of customer service. Matter of fact, we have what we call the balance of the business, and the balance of the business really is 3 steps, if you will. And that's safety. Safety is number 1, service is number 2, and then efficiency or cost savings is number 3. We just won't sacrifice safety for anything. And if we identify areas that need to be corrected, either in our behavior or processes that we do, we're very quick to react to those. So again, I wanted to set aside the idea or misconception that Waste just came in and all of a sudden immediately started doing synergies. In fact, to the opposite of that, The very first thing that Waste Management did when they came here was to dramatically improve the overall benefit package of every single employee inside the company. So when I say benefit package, all the way from the insurance to the 401k plan to a stock purchase plan, which are things that Deffenbaugh employees had never experienced. Deffenbaugh employees for a long time have had access to health care and benefits, and that's fantastic. We're basically under the same plan, but because of the size of the company, Waste Management is in a position to leverage those costs. And on an average, for the employees who were there on day one, on an average, if they picked a like plan that they had, they saved about $40 per week, $40 cash per week. They didn't have to change. It was a cafeteria style plan. If they had basically the same coverage, $40 a week. So we thought that was fantastic. $160 plus a month. To most people, that's an immediate difference. I understand that that's not always viewed that way. The second thing that Waste did was to introduce a matching 401k plan. Deffenbaugh had a 401k plan, but it was never a matching 401k plan. So there again, it's a very, very competitive and robust plan for the employee to help them set up for future times in retirement. The third thing that Waste Management did was to make available to all employees, whether it's a person answering the phone or it's a truck driver or a helper whoever it is, what they call an employee stock purchase plan. Just high level, what that stock purchase plan does is to provide the employee an opportunity to make a guaranteed 15% return on money that they invest towards the purchase of the stock. There's a couple of times throughout the year that that purchase takes place, or their strike time, if you will. But these are all benefits that the employees have never received. After several months, we identified the fact was that our compensation rates were not competitive in the marketplace in order to be able to attract new talent and to retain talent. As a matter of fact, over the previous 8 years, there had been no compensation adjustment at all for any of the employees. I really don't know that much about the history prior to that, and I'm not here to downgrade or to talk bad about anybody else. It was just a philosophy at the time, but we knew that we needed to correct that immediately. We did the first compensation adjustment around the December mark of last year. And when we did that, basically it was, we took people who were incentive paid, they were paid either by the stop or they were paid a day rate, regardless of how many hours they worked. And we converted everybody to an hourly rate. And when we converted everybody to an hourly rate, then applicable and eligible for the overtime benefits, that had a substantial impact, well into the 7 figures. So in fact, everybody did move forward. Some substantially, some a little less, but everybody moved forward. We also told the employees at that time that historically Waste Management experiences compensation adjustments every March or April. Many times those are just cost of living adjustments, and we followed through in that commitment also. So in March, April, we adjusted that compensation rate again, about 2% for everybody. It's not dramatic, but it's certainly more than had ever been experienced before. And that pattern, it's historic with Waste Management, so we can all look forward to that moving forward. We did those things with thoughtful consideration, with the intent of making sure that we were the employer of choice in Kansas City for truck drivers who were interested in being in the waste business. And I think we did a relatively good job at that point. Unfortunately, the competition saw what we were doing, and so they decided to up the ante on a little bit. That's okay. It's open market. We like that. It created a situation where we just were not attracting the talent off the street that we needed. So within the last week and a half, we have adjusted the compensation rates for a third time, less than 12 months. And this is a great benefit to the employees, and it's well earned. Again, after being in the business for 35 years, I'm a little biased, but I think we have some of the hardest working people just about in any field. And it's very, very difficult work. So we don't begrudge it, we welcome it, we think it's the right thing to do. But we still have to find a way to address the fact that across the nation, there's 25 to 30,000 truck driving seats that are open, that aren't being filled. And in fact, right here in Kansas City, over the last 30 days, our corporate office has helped identify that in Kansas City, there are 12,000 truck driving positions posted currently. Now, in full disclosure, that may be a very large company that has multiple postings. That's not 12,000 individual postings. One company may have 6 or 7. But even if we cut that number in half by 50%, and we say easily there's 6,000 job openings for truck drivers, there were only 1,200 active candidates.
Well, that's a lot to take in.
I wouldn't take that to the vote to gamble with those odds, right?
Yeah.
So those are the challenges.
Okay.
Let me get to what we're doing about it just real quickly. So again, we've identified that we've got the shortage of employees. We just had a job fair this past Saturday. We had one in June. We had some success with it, but this past Saturday was tremendous. We had 70 applicants walk in the door, ready to be employed. Of those 70, we made job offers to 38, and they've been sent for the pre-screening and for the physicals and background checks. On Monday of this week, we'll start 24 of those new employees. They'll start in what we call a green week training program, to where they're in the office for a week in classroom orientation. Then we begin to acclimate them into the actual workforce. The total training period for an employee at this point is about 7 weeks. We want to make sure that they're trained appropriately, that they're acclimated to the work that they're going to do, so that we set them up for success rather than failure. So have we completely turned the corner? I can tell you I feel very, very confident at this point that we've entered the curve. And now it's a matter of keeping that momentum moving forward to make sure that we maintain the proper staffing. The other thing that we've done is to acknowledge, again, that not everybody grows up wanting to be a truck driver, especially a trash truck driver. So we still have a group of employees who we call the helpers. These are the people that are on the back of the trucks throwing the trash into the back of the hopper. Not all of them, because like in the city of Mission, a lot of that collection is automated. But it's not on the yard waste and probably never will be. The challenge is a lot of these helpers don't have a CDL license, which is required. Many of them have a desire to have that license, but they just don't know how to do it. So we've actually started our own training school, if you will, here locally, to where we can take a helper and now actually help him get his CDL, provide him the training for that. And if we can't accommodate that here in Kansas City because we're too busy, Waste Management has a training facility down in Florida, to where we will send a helper who's been with us for a period of time. They'll spend 3 weeks down there, come back with their CDL, and we'll put them through some extensive training after that. So those are some of the steps that we're taking to address the driver shortage, which has really led to the challenges.
Well, that's great. I know all the council people have heard from all their constituents, but I thought maybe first we would open it up to the audience, and any questions that you have for Paul, please come up and state your name and address, and Paul will answer them or write them down.
We'll write them down.
Mr. Mayor, I'm Don Ripley. I'm a resident of Kennett Place, and I want to begin by thanking you for arranging to have Paul here this evening so we could visit. One of the things you learn when you manage large entities is people who don't know your business often have solutions, and those may or may not be right. So I'm glad to hear that you're working on solutions to solve the problem. As a user, Kennett Place is really interested in 3 things. One, is your service reliable? Do we know every Friday it will be there? If not Friday, it's going to be Saturday for this reason. Is it predictable? Do we know that on the first Monday, big pieces of trash will be removed, and that the yard waste will be removed? And are you responsible? So if damage is done, I worked with Scott about 6 weeks ago when a new driver training had a little accident on our property, and I wanted to tell you we're glad we're working through that. But I think the important thing for us is to understand the problem, which you have helped us do, and to understand that you are really serious hearing these concerns, understanding the contractual relationships, that you're going to move forward with solutions. And those could be working with community college to train, doing your own training, rescheduling from other communities where they may. So I'm not here to give you solutions, although I have some ideas, but I really want to make sure that you understand it's serious. I mean, it's things that are left out of the smell. And this past weekend, I walked through Millhaven, and it was, it's like being in New York City, kind of. But anyway, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for providing this opportunity. And we'll look forward to hearing your solutions.
Yeah, I appreciate that comment, and I'll tell you, I'm not a transplant, for Waste Management. I've been in the Kansas City market off and on since 1980. I moved from Chicago. I grew up in Chicago, but I've been here since 1980. Now, I did some traveling. I was with Allied Waste and BFI for about 18 years, and I traveled to some different areas. Couldn't wait to get back to Kansas City because this has really become home. So my commitment, my personal commitment, is I have no intention of relocating again. I've done that several times to my wife, and she wouldn't follow me again, and I'm not going to lose her. So my commitment is to make this work. And if I'm going to make this work, I don't have my waste management shirt on tonight. That's not because I'm afraid to hide from it. I wear it all the time. I just ran out of them. But I go to the same grocery stores, the same hardware stores, and that's representative, right? So
Right.
you have
Yes.
my commitment.
Well, thank you. Any more questions? Yes, Sandy?
Hi, Sandy Russell, 6416 Mill Haven Drive. Just wanted to make one comment. With the heavy trash pickup that we had for this month, where there are large items stacked, and unfortunately we had a horrific rain, and that didn't help matters any. But I know that when called, they had no idea exactly when they would be able to pick up the heavy things, so things were being brought back into the garage. But also that if we wanted to have a special pickup, we'd be glad to have you pay $100 and we'd be right out. So that, that's kind of not a really good balance of trying to figure out something that we already feel that we are provided, and then told that if we want this in a timely manner right now, it's going to cost us $100. So just wanted to let you know that.
Well, and I appreciate you letting me know. That's the wrong answer, number one.
I was hoping it was.
It is. That large item bulky collection is included in the contract, and that's to take place the first week of every month, regardless of what day the first day of the month is. It's not acceptable, for somebody to call in an agent to give them this information. That's part of the schooling and education that we're doing. We're doing our best to make sure that our agents know the proper answers. And I think generally we've done a pretty good job of creating almost a Wikipedia, if you will. We call it Gene pages, so that when somebody calls from the city like here, they can look up and find out exactly, what the restrictions are and what the benefits are also. The other thing that we can do, so that there's full disclosure, is we record almost every phone call that comes into the call center, and we disclose that up front. But we do that for training purposes for our people. So if there are situations, and we have had situations where somebody has called and they've either been given misinformation or just frankly treated unfairly, we can actually pull that report and use that as a coaching and learning opportunity for the agent. So, Sandy, that was the wrong answer.
Good.
That was basically the wrong answer. So.
Thanks, Paul. Sir?
My name's Josh, live on Reeds Road, Josh Curtis. Two things, actually three things. I own a trucking company, and he is for real. It is very difficult to find drivers, and quit poaching my guys. Second, as far as the communication, I can't emphasize that enough. Sorry, I'm a little taller. It is so frustrating to call and they say, yeah, we'll have someone by the end of the day, and it's not even the next day, 4 or 5 days later. I work from home and, I see the trucks here and there, which brings me to my third. Do you have, when I had a pickup and delivery fleet, I was running about 10 vehicles doing that. I had cameras that indicated rolling stops. I'm by a stop sign and I see your guys rolling that thing all the time. Luckily, I've never seen an unsafe situation where, almost hit a car. But do you have safety technology like that? What's the accountability? Because, I would suspend drivers for 6 months just off the bat because it's an extremely dangerous situation. So I'm just curious as to your safety technology because I see rolling stops all the time. I just want to see what the accountability is.
Yeah. Do you have a CDL still?
Yeah.
Can I give you my card?
I don't know if you can afford me, but let's try.
I probably cannot afford not to have it. So, no, great question, right? So, thanks for asking that. So, what Josh is referring to, I believe, we call it anyway, the system that we will be implementing into our trucks is called a drive cam system. We have not put that in the trucks yet. Waste Management across the nation has that in their fleet. And I have it in my pickup truck, and it's a company-owned pickup truck. Scott has it in his truck, which is a company-owned pickup truck. And we started with the managers first because we're as accountable as the drivers. We wanted to set the example. And basically what it is, Scott, it's a camera that sits right above our rear view mirror. And it's constantly recording, but the third-party company isn't just sitting there watching everybody because there's over 15,000 vehicles across the nation with Waste Management. But what it does is if there's a hard brake, or if there's an excessive acceleration, or a hard turn, or if unfortunately there's an accident, it is recorded the 8 seconds before and the 8 seconds afterwards, right? So we can use that to take the appropriate action. It's a great tool. Waste has had terrific success with it, and it changes driving behaviors. I've had mine now in my truck for probably 6 months, and I got busted. But it was a great learning opportunity, right? Just very quickly, I'm driving on the highway and the vehicle stops in front of me and I have to hit my brakes hard. I thought that I had plenty of room between myself and that person. 4-second following distance is what we required, and I was sure that I did. Well, sure enough, my boss called me and he said, "Have you watched your drive cam?" And that I said, "I did. I thought I did a good job." He said, "Not so much. You were about 2 seconds behind that vehicle in front of you." I didn't even realize those things. So really, this isn't to crack down as much as positively change people's behavior. Unfortunately, if we don't change our behavior, and now I have 4 seconds that I leave in front, then we have to take some other actions. But
great.
that's thanks for reminding me. So.
All right. Any more questions? The audience, yes, ma'am.
I'm Ruth Britton and I'm from Kennett Place too, not to be overbearing from Kennett Place, but
You can move that mic down.
the biggest problem is one that you don't know when they're going to come. That's the biggest problem. So, and compost has been the most difficult, obviously. So you have these paper bags and you're dragging them in and out, and then the rain comes and they get soft and so on. So we understand shortage, I understand the labor problem. But if there's any way you could communicate that, no, we aren't going to make this Friday pickup, but we hope Monday or it'll be Tuesday, somewhere on the website, either on Mission or yours. So we just knew.
Yeah, thank you. You're right. So kind of a common theme that I heard there is just either consistency or notification. And that's one of the commitments that we'd made to Laura and the staff. And we're still trying to work on that technology to make sure that we've got it right. We haven't done a good job of it, obviously. Not only do we have the drive cam in the system, the drivers now have what we call the OBU. It's an onboard unit tablet. It's a computer. And on that tablet is their route. So before, they didn't have a route. They didn't have a route sheet. We just said, go pick up the containers. Now they have that. And what that allows us to do, once we get the system right, and we don't have it right yet, it will give us that predictability so that we'll know exactly. And Scott can tell you, he can sit at his computer when people are using the tablet appropriately and say, okay, Paul Howe is 50% done with his route. It's 10 a.m., that's about right. If it's 10 a.m. and Paul Howe is only 10%, then we've got problems. Right? Paul is either broke down or something. We either need to get him some help or we have to acknowledge we're going to be late. Ultimately, where that will drive is for us to be able to give that predictability, to be able to call Laura or to call the customer directly if we have that information and say, guess what? Beyond our control, we'll be there, tomorrow. So how long are we until we really have that technology down? I have 5 people in the office with me now from other areas of the country. They've been there for the last 7 weeks, Scott. We call them the SDO team, Service Delivery Optimization. They are working specifically one-on-one with us and the drivers to understand that technology and how to use it. Again, when do we feel comfortable that we're going to have that 100%? I still think that we're probably 7 to 8 weeks away from really understanding it, having it where we need, and having the usage that we should have. But at that point, it's going to be very, very predictable. We want to be able to reach out and say, I'm not going to get you today. Here's when I will be here. So, good comments and questions.
Any more questions? I'll open up the council. Yes, Ron.
Thank you for attending this evening and enlightening us to the situation that's going on. As you indicated, your environment is changing and you've identified issues and communities have given you feedback that they're unhappy with service. You've also identified some solutions. I guess what I'm asking for is, and you have numerous solutions you're trying to implement. When can we expect the level of service that you want to provide to get back to that level? So are we talking about 6 weeks, 6 months, a year? When are your solutions going to be effective to the point where we can stop debating the service level?
Understand, and that's a fair question. I think I visited with Laura and her staff a couple of months ago, and we really felt we were just getting ready to do the job fair in June. And I really had a high confidence level that we were going to hire the appropriate number of people, and that didn't happen. We did get good turnout, and we've hired people. I believe, because my training program is now seven weeks, I believe I'm 8 to 9 weeks away from really making a substantial difference. Every single week now, we're releasing more people into the workforce. Doesn't sound like a lot. I run 95 to 96 residential trash routes every day. I service about 83,000 customers every day. We released 2 drivers to full duty this week in the residential system. Next week I'll release another 2. They've gone through our entire training program. And that trend then continues, almost pyramids and escalates. So I have a lot of confidence that with the 24 people that we just made, or the 38 people we made job offers to, 24 of which were for the residential department specifically, every week we'll be releasing more. Realistically, I think that I'm 8 to 9 weeks from having a completely buckled under. But that's a fair question.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Paul. You've answered a lot of my questions, and you've had my list. But I would like for you to address the senior citizens or the individuals who cannot get their trash to the curb, because I've had other people ask me how you're going to do this and what procedure you're going to use to make sure that it gets taken care of so that we don't continue to get calls about that.
Thanks for reminding me, and I thought that you would. Fair question. So again, with the use of the onboard unit computers, the expectation by me to the drivers is that they use that onboard unit computer. That provides the address and any routing notes. Prior to having this, again, we lost all visibility. We relied on the driver's memory to remember where that address was of that special needs person. And that was okay if you had good consistency in the driver. The problem was if he goes on vacation, if he's ill, or if he quits, it's an entire new learning curve. Understanding that we still don't have the onboard unit computer system 100% where we need to do it, I've asked our customer service person, Missy Cartwright, to create a list for every city, every address that has that special needs at this point. I then asked Scott and the other route managers to own that list and to make sure that our drivers are trained, number one, and to take personal accountability for checking on those on a weekly basis to make sure that our drivers are learning to get in right. I have a feeling, human nature, we'll still make mistakes. I don't think it's 100% foolproof, but the tools are there, and what I wanted to do is create an environment where we provided the tools for a driver to be successful, not to set them up for failure. And then if we have an issue where we need to do the corrections, we'll do the corrections. But
Okay, so in other words now, like Kristen said, she has some people that would like to have it done. They call Laura, they call the city hall, and then they contact you. It goes on a list.
correct.
So then when they don't get a pickup, we call you.
That's correct. And you have my cell phone.
And I have your cell phone
I know
number.
you do. I know you do.
Trust me. Okay, and then can you also address the situation that Mission is one of the few cities that pays their trash bill for everybody? We talked about that too, and I think that it's valuable for us to know, because I think sometimes when we pay the whole trash bill, it's easier for you. And I just think Mission needs a little compensation or a little extra work done in the city.
Understand. Yeah, you bet. So yeah, it is interesting, and we had shared some comments, and we see a variety, right? We have a subscription market where people can hire and fire as they will. We also have municipal contracts like the city is. And there's a variety of ways that municipalities do that. Sometimes they have the company, being us, bill the resident directly, so we have to do the postage and the collections, etc. Sometimes the city pays the whole bill. Sometimes the city only pays a portion of the bill, right? So they still bill the residents something for administrative costs or something that, Mission certainly is one that, again, I can't. Our actions haven't demonstrated that we truly value, because municipality work is so easy. It's so easy. It's every cart on the street. It's not like subscription where you really don't know if it's yours or not. It's every single. And then the whole collections effort also, where the city pays the entire thing. There's tremendous.
Okay, my last question is, when I've had people say that the people that answer your phone at Deffenbaugh are not very nice, that they don't care, it's just like they just say, we'll get there when we can, or we don't know. So I would suggest that you might give them a little PR training
I mean, I get a lot of comments feedback that they really don't get a very nice person that doesn't know what they're doing. And I think like with us, our trash pickup is on Friday. So do we get what you miss on Saturday? Do you come back on Sunday, or do you come back on Monday? And I don't think any of us really know.
Sure.
So,
Thank you. So for my customer service people, and we have approximately 25 to 30 agents upstairs, and we're doing consistent training and education with them. Just like I mentioned when we record phone calls, that's not to catch them doing anything right, it's to look for opportunities where we can improve their skill set. I gotta tell you, they work awfully hard, and their frustration is because of my failure on the operations side. Because guess what, if I pick up your trash or yard waste and recycle on time, you really don't have any need to call. And instead of getting 12 to 1,500 calls in a day, you're only getting 300 to 400 calls in a day. So this leads back, just open the screen, this leads back to us on operations to get our game together. And that being said, yeah, there's continued education because there is never an acceptable time to be rude. So you're right.
so then if our trash isn't picked up on Friday, when do you pick it up?
So if your trash is not picked up on Friday, the expectation is the recovery day is Monday. We historically do not run on Saturday or Sunday with residential. We have recently because we've been so far behind, but that's not the typical pattern.
So then you're gonna leave stinky garbage there over the weekend.
Susie, that's, yeah.
Sorry.
Will you change our trash day from Friday?
But the goal needs to be this. If your trash day is Friday, pick it up Friday. Get it done Friday.
If they don't, I'll call you.
I bet you will.
Paul,
Yes, sir.
on the flip side of that coin, I have never, except 2 weeks ago, was the first time, the only time I've ever called Deffenbaugh about anything. And I say 2 weeks ago, I don't know, 2 more. But I think there was a holiday, so whatever holiday might have happened a few weeks ago. I heard that was coming up. So whatever day of the week that was, I know my trash gets picked up on Monday, and so I expected it to be picked up on Tuesday, and it didn't get picked up Tuesday. So Wednesday, when I got back from doing my job, it was still out there. I checked, it was still out there, so I called, and the lady that answered my call was very friendly. She didn't put me on hold. She got the information. She got on her computer, I guess, and checked whatever it was, and was very polite to me. And I said, "Yeah, Mr. Quinn, sorry about that. Yeah, we were running behind, whatever the deal," and said, "We will definitely get that picked up today." I said, "Okay, for sure." She said, "Yeah." I said, I just wanted to make sure." I got off the phone, and I swear to God, within 5 minutes, the truck came down the street and picked it up. So yeah, I mean, but the interaction with customer service was fantastic. So I got no problem with that. I'm sure there have been cases in the past, just like you were talking about. There's going to be a lot of frustration if they're getting that many calls. So
I appreciate that. So my goal really is that you shouldn't have to make that call, not only because we picked the trash up on time, but if we are going to be late, you should get that notice. So you should know ahead of time. That's my goal, and that's where we're driving. And it works for waste management across the country. That process works. We're not there yet. My gosh, we're going to get there. So.
Are you going to change the name?
Yeah, so great question. No, I don't think we have any intent at this point on changing the name. That was really a struggle, for waste management, because waste management is a $14 billion a year company, 40,000 plus employees. Very proud of the company, and they should be. This is the first company in the entire United States in their entire history that they have purchased without changing the name. And they did that very thoughtfully because they honored and respected the fact that Deffenbaugh had 50 plus years of history, right? And for most of that 50 years, it was a very good name. My challenge is to get it back to that good name. So no, at this time, now maybe in the future it'll be rebranded, but not necessarily different.
how long you say you've been with Waste Management?
Well, I've been with them since the acquisition, which was in March of last year. But I have been with Deffenbaugh since 2008, and then in business for 25 years.
You will be giving us a heads up relative to capacity. How are you doing on capacity?
For landfill, terrific shape. Listen, our permit currently goes through 2043, and that's just a special use permit. But our estimations at this point are that we will have substantial airspace well beyond that. So it would just be a matter of extending. Several things have driven that, obviously the recycling initiatives, and then frankly, over the last several years, the downturn in the economy and lesser amounts of trash. We're in good shape. And we're expanding the recycling center also, tremendously, to about several $1 million to make sure that we can handle more capacity. I think you've seen some of the new CNG, compressed natural gas trucks. We have 56 on the street today. We'll have 77 by the end of the year, which is great for the environment. It's kind of a full circle deal, right? We pick up the trash, take it to the landfill. We have a methane collection system. There's an outside company that scrubs that gas, feeds it into a pipeline. That same pipeline is now fueling our trucks. So it's kind of a neat story.
I've taken the tour. That would be a neat opportunity for people to take that tour too.
Any more questions? Any more in the audience? Yes, Frank.
Frank Bruce, 5706 Lamar. And I went to school with Ronnie Deffenbaugh, and back then his motto was satisfaction guaranteed or twice your trash back. Do you still have that motto?
Some people would believe so.
Well, Susie and Pat's comments kind of stirred me, and that's why I didn't say anything before. But I've called a few times, 631-3300. So I don't know if everybody has that memorized or not, but I have found your phone people to be very pleasant. And anytime I'm out and your driver comes by, he waves, they're very friendly. So I just wanted to pass that comment along.
I appreciate it. I really appreciate the nice comments. We know we've got challenges. And I know I've listened to some of those calls, some of the recording calls, and we're not always as nice as we should be. So, but thank you for the acknowledgement. We've got again, I'm biased, but I think we've got the hardest working people that I've ever been around. But you've always got that 80-20 rule.
Right. Thank you, George. Any more questions? Paul, we sure do appreciate you coming, taking all the heat, taking the questions, and we will be looking forward to getting to 100%.
We'll talk about the Royals next time.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
You're on the consent agenda. And I think we can go. I don't think Laura needs to comment on anything. Our consent agenda has one item tonight. If the council member, staff, or member of the public would like an item removed from the consent agenda, they may request that at this time. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Mayor, I move the city council approve the minutes of the June 15th, 2016 city council meeting.
Second.
Please call roll.
Schlossmacher,
Aye.
Quinn,
Aye.
Rothrock,
Abstain.
okay. Garrity,
Aye.
Crane,
Aye.
Inman,
Aye.
Appletoft.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. If you have any questions regarding our community committees, you may ask staff or bring this up under new business. Public comments. This is an opportunity for members of the public to comment on items that are not on the agenda. If you have any comments, please come to the podium and state your name and address. Under action items, we do not have any items from the Planning Commission this evening. Next is our committee reports. Councilmember Appletoft, will you please provide a report from the Finance and Administration Committee?
Thank you, Mayor. I have 3 items on the Finance and Administration Committee this evening. First item is 6A. This is an item to purchase 6 police vehicles, 1 police motorcycle, and 1 skid steer loader for Public Works. This equipment has reached the end of its useful life, and after reviewing various financing options, it was decided the best option at this time was to lease the police vehicles and pay cash for the skid loader. Therefore, Mayor, and I move, let me get to the right spot, I'm sorry. I move the City Council approve a resolution authorizing the City of Mission, Kansas to enter into a lease purchase transaction, the proceeds of which will be used to pay for the cost of acquiring certain equipment for use in the city, and to approve the execution of certain documents in connection therewith.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call roll.
Quinn,
Aye.
Garrity,
Aye.
Rothrock,
Aye.
Inman,
Aye.
Kring,
Aye.
Appletoft,
Aye.
Schlosmacher,
Aye.
motion carries.
Item 6B deals with the municipal investment pool, and that's MIP. The state of Kansas operates the municipal investment pool for the purposes of allowing municipalities to invest their idle funds. The City of Mission is a member of the state MIP. Currently, we have 2 staff members that have authorization to transact business with the MIP, and this action item would increase the number to 3. Therefore, Mayor, I move the City Council approve a resolution designating authorized representatives for the Kansas Municipal Investment Pool.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call roll.
Inman,
Aye.
Gibbs,
Aye.
Appletoft,
Aye.
Garrity,
Aye.
Kring,
Aye.
Quinn,
Aye.
Rothrock,
Aye.
Schlossmacher.
Aye.
Thank you, motion carries.
Item 6C deals with our CIDs. This action item is to amend the implementation date for the Gateway Community Improvement CIDs. The original CIDs were approved in 2013, and the plan at that time was to make them effective January 1, 2015. Obviously, we have passed that date. The start dates on these CIDs have now been amended 3 times prior to tonight. These are not new CIDs, just an extension of the effective date of the existing CIDs. Delaying activation of the CID date preserves the entire 22-year duration. And once a CID the date is activated, the clock cannot be reset. Therefore, Mayor, I move the City Council approve an ordinance amending ordinance numbers 1376, 1408, and 1428, authorizing the creation of a Mission Gateway Community Improvement District Number 1 in the City of Mission, Kansas, authorizing the making of certain project improvements relating thereto, approving the estimated cost of such project improvements, levying a 0.5% CID sales tax, providing for special assessments, and providing for the method of financing the same, including the issuance of special obligation bonds and full faith and credit bonds.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, this is CID number 1. Is that the geographical area that covers the whole piece of property there? Because I believe CID district number 2 is the one that has a hole in the middle of it.
Correct.
Right? Okay. And all we're doing here is talking about extending what's currently there, just the start date of that out.
That's correct.
That does not bind us to approving any future agreement if a new development plan is filed and things change there, right?
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions? Discussion? Please call roll.
Gibbs,
Aye.
Kring,
Aye.
Inman,
Aye.
Rothrock,
Aye.
Appletoft,
Aye.
Quinn,
Aye.
Garrity,
Aye.
Schlossmacher,
Aye.
motion carries.
Okay, so the second part of this motion deals with the Gateway Community Improvement District Number 2. So Mayor, I move the City Council approve an ordinance amending ordinance numbers 1377, 1409, and 1429, authorizing the creation of the Mission Gateway Community Improvement District Number 2 in the City of Mission, Kansas, authorizing the making of certain project improvements relating thereto, approving the estimated cost of such project improvements, levying a 0.5% CID sales tax, providing for special assessments, and providing for the method of financing the same, including the issuance of special obligation bonds and full faith and credit upon.
Second.
Any discussion?
Wait, I guess one more question on this one, sorry. Since the project plan is likely to be changing or having some differences there, how might the geographical area of this CID district be changed, or is that even flexible to be changed at this point? What consideration might we have to take there?
I think that we would likely have the opportunity here, because this was fairly unique in carving out the footprint of the big box retail store and excluding that from the district, that there were some properties that were captured in the elevations above that. We would need to look at whether or not the legal description for this CID district matches with the current plan that would be considered. But again, you would still have the opportunity to keep this district in place, and or you're not committing to any specific disbursement of CID revenues by extending the implementation date.
Any other discussion? Please call roll.
Quinn.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Kring.
Aye.
Inman.
Aye.
Garrity.
Aye.
Gibbs.
Aye.
Schlesmacher.
Nay.
Appletoft.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mayor, that concludes my report.
Councilmember Rothrock, will you please provide a report on our community development?
Thank you, Mayor. I only have one item for tonight, and it is the 2016 Mill and Overlay Program. The Mill and Overlay Program focuses on repairing those streets with damaged surface asphalt that are nearing a state of complete disrepair. In June, bids for these services were received from 5 contractors, with Little Joe's Asphalt submitting the best and lowest bid. The 2017 program will mill and overlay approximately 1.34 lane miles of road, replace approximately 2,363 linear feet of curb, and make any necessary ADA improvements. Mayor, I move the City Council approve a contract with Little Joe's Asphalt for the completion of the 2016 Mill and Overlay Program in an amount not to exceed $190,143.05.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call roll.
Garrity.
Aye.
Appletoft.
Aye.
Schlesmacher.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Kring.
Aye.
Inman.
Aye.
Gibbs. Motion carries.
That concludes my report.
Thank you. We do not have any unfinished business tonight. Is there any new business? Yes.
Just a reminder, we will have a Ward 3 meeting tomorrow evening at the Community Center from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. All are welcome.
Any more? Under Mayor's report tonight, I put before you the name of Peter Simonson for appointment as Municipal Judge Pro Tem with a term expiring January 18, 2017. Is there a motion?
Yes. Mayor, I move the City Council uphold the appointment of Peter Simonson as Municipal Judge Pro Tem with a term expiring January 18, 2017.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call roll.
Appletoft.
Aye.
Schlesmacher.
Aye.
Rothrock.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Gibbs.
Aye.
Garrity. Inman.
Aye.
Kring.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Just one more thing under Mayor's report, and that's was our Mission Family Picnic. Just a great event. Had a lot of help. I mean, everybody did. I didn't, and I just went there and enjoyed it. But it was a great event. I think it's the best of the year. But I would like to mention some people that really, really worked hard on a very hot night, and that is members of the Parks and Rec Commission, Citizen Academy. I know Fiorella Schlossmacher was there all night. I don't know who else was. I'm sorry if anybody's out in the audience. It was the Citizens Academy. The police department was there all night. Several officers. You saw those little things they were giving out all over. Kids loved them. Public Works, the fire department. It was always a big hit. And Christ Church volunteers, they were there all night. It was great. And then all the council members and residents. And then last but not least, Debbie and Lynn Crane for the fireworks. I mean, he masterminded the whole thing, and it was great, and it's quite neat. So thanks, Debbie. Tell Lynn thanks. So anyway, that's it. Oh, yes.
I would just like to commend the police department for the effort they put in today. They had all the kids from the community center over from day camp, and how many did you have then?
180.
180. It was hot, and those kids were hot, and the help was all hot, but we had plenty of hot dogs, we had plenty of cookies. The kids loved it, they had a good time, and I applaud you for doing it. I thought it was a very good PR move for the police department. Thanks to John for barbecue.
Oh, yes. How you feeling, John?
Still hot.
Yes.
And I understand, Chief, today you had fewer than 6 arrests, so that's good.
We try. We're trying to keep it down.
Anything else? Laura? Oh, John, did you want some? Oh. Laura, do you have a city administrator?
Just a couple of things, Mayor, thank you. I just echo your comments from the beginning of the meeting for our police department. You know, it's my hope that we can stop wearing black bands across their badges sooner rather than later. But we appreciate all that they do for us and for everyone in the community. Just a couple of reminders then. The Gateway preliminary site plan is going to a planning commission meeting on Monday. The planning commission packet was posted online this afternoon, so I'll make sure to send all of you a link to that so you have access to that information. And then we do have a work session which will really begin our conversation about the economic development incentive tools that are available to us and have been requested in the past as a part of the Gateway project. So we will have our land use attorney, our bond counsel, and our financial advisor here next Wednesday at 6 p.m. for a work session to start that conversation, continuing that through August and September as the project moves forward. And then also I think Martha sent an email today about the League's annual meeting, which will be coming up in October in Overland Park. Would encourage you to consider attending. It's very convenient, so if you can't make it for all of the day, the list of some of the sessions is out and available, so please see Martha if you're interested in participating in that. That's all I have.
Okay. Is the August 3rd meeting, or is that our final kind of work session on the budget? So if we have anything we want to express on the budget, maybe council people could email you if they're concerned.
If there's any alternatives or things you want us to run numbers for, please let us know in advance and we can be prepared to look at those options and alternatives.
And we can discuss those on the 3rd.
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Right. Thank you. Well, if there's no other business.
Chief,
Yes,
mind if I address you real quick?
Sure, yes.
So, one thing for the cars. The officers really enjoy driving new cars, and not that don't have 100,000 miles and end up at Carl Casey's every week. A lot of things have been going on in the world lately. Yesterday did hit close to home. Several of our officers knew Captain Melton. I had a discussion with my 7-year-old daughter last night if I'm coming home. That does hit close to home for all of us. I will tell you that I have so much food in my station downstairs, not just from all the kids today, and John Belger did find the biggest hot dogs at Hy-Vee today. Several of you came out. I've gotten phone calls, emails. There are 5 wreaths from Dollar General that's out there in front of the police station for the Dallas officers. They showed up and put those out there and then called dispatch from the phone out in the vestibule to let us know. Our community has been great. We had coffee with a cop last week. Everybody in this community cares, and the Kansas City area has the greatest people. And I know I brag about the police department and everything. We have a lot of good cops in Kansas City. It's unfortunate that events like this bring this kind of stuff out. We are not making any changes to our service delivery in this city. I will not let 2 incidents in this country dictate how we do our job. So our service delivery changes none. I have people coming up and hugging the officers out in the street, praying with them in the street. It's really good to see. There's a lot of good people in this world, and it's unfortunate a few bad ones make the choices that they do. But I appreciate everything that you guys do. The employees have been great. Our community's great. So I just wanted to let you know that how much we all appreciate that. It is a hard time, but we will get through as we always do. So Thank you.
We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Yep, thank you.
Any other comments? Anyone? Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
She's quick. Okay. She got years of practice.
Hang on there.